I never ever thought that I would ever fucking agree with Ben Shapiro, but he did a tweet today, which I'm going to read to you now. And he says, it's fascinating to watch the mood from Democrats this morning. Even though they believe that Biden would win, they're sour. Sorry, that's odd because supposedly this election was all about getting rid of Orange Man bad. But that's the dirty secret. It wasn't. It was about power, which is exactly fucking it. This is the most pathetic victory, if it's a victory. As we're talking to you right now, things are still hung. We were going to wait till the results were announced, but that may take fuck knows how long that shit's going to take.
It could take days.
Yeah, it could take days. So
we're on the second day of 78 Days of Hell, according to Alex Jones.
Absolutely. The second day of 78 Days of Hell cannot wait to be through.
That's exactly fucking it. If it is a victory, it's the most fucking pathetic, shitty victory, ineffectual fucking victory that I have ever witnessed, and that a lot of people who have been alive a lot longer than me haven't witnessed. This is what all of these media figures, all of these pundits, all of these celebrities, this is what they debased and cucked themselves for. This is what they bent the knee to. And I think that they should be deeply fucking ashamed of themselves. It's not the time for triumphalism at all.
No, the fact that he won with such basically the most pathetic losery win possible is if the liberals try to blame the left for his poor performance, they want to do desperately, you can be like, shut the fuck up, you won. And if they try to take a victory lap, you can be like, shut the fuck up, you barely won.
Exactly. And that's the thing that this whole thing has proved. Every single fucking angle that they feel they can use to manufacture consent has literally fucking come to bite them in the ass. From the racial angle to the cultural angle, the fact that they spent fucking so much money on this election, got all the celebrities from Lady Gaga to the fucking Avengers out, did everything to ensure that they would manufacture enough consent for this fucking blue wave that they keep telling us is going to materialize. This fucking special, magical, splashy blue fucking wave.
Oh my God, the blue is washing over me. I'm at the beach and the blue water is landing upon me. I'm swimming in democracy.
It's like bukkake porn, but democratic, basically.
You almost made me spit water everywhere.
Also, how can it be the leftists' fault when Joe Biden beat the socialists? I mean, he made it. Yeah, he makes a big stink about beating the socialists. So he's got full reign, and he's already shown everybody that they have full reign in their centrist neoliberal ideology. You have full reign of the Democratic Party, and you beat the socialists. So I love to see how you swing and tell us that it's the leftist fault this time. I'm waiting for that one.
Again,
they're going to anyway.
They're going to, but the response is, you guys won. You have no right to fucking say this.
Exactly.
Shut the fuck up. What are you blaming us for? You got what you wanted. However, as Ben Shapiro says, they didn't actually get what they wanted. They got what they said they wanted.
Exactly.
They didn't get power. There's no mandate. It's a fucking pathetic win, which is amazing because now they can't use blame. And they also can't symbolically fucking do their grand parade. They can't do either of these things because they got what they said they wanted. And on top of that, they fucking have nothing.
No. All they're going to do is lean really hard into the cultural angle because they can't really lean into the policy or political angle, and they can't lean into the material angle. So you're going to see them being like, oh, we got rid of the fascist, the orange man. We have a black female vice president.
Gonna be president after too long. Let's just be clear.
Yeah, let's just be clear. Yeah.
Not a single vote. First black woman president.
Yeah. We're fucking holding hands, kumbaya, and all rubbing up against each other, loving each other, rainbows everywhere. That's the shit that they're gonna fucking lean into. They're going to fucking lean into that shit, and it's going to be fucking disgusting. And there are going to be people who are cheerleading that shit. They're going to lead so hard onto the fucking identity politics. They're going to lean hard onto the cultural, civility and the dignity of our country fucking bullshit. And they're going to do absolutely fuck all for the next fucking 4 years.
Well, they can't.
Congratulations.
They got no power. They lost seats in the House. They only gained 1 seat in the Senate. They don't have a majority there. There's no fucking power. They got nothing. But they got what they said they wanted, which is get rid of Orange Man bad.
Why wasn't more emphasis put on those elections to get them more power in the Senate? Or
Because they assumed if you went out to vote Biden, you would obviously vote down ticket blue. Of course. Like, they don't think about the fact that specifically you actually have to make assurances, promises, some form of material advance for the people who you want the votes from. No, they don't think about that. They think, oh, we got the Orange Man. We branded him as bad. And that means our brand is good. And therefore, down ticket, the brand will prevail.
I think the way that it is now is like they're flailing because the pressure's now kind of on them. Like the way that in 4 years ago, everyone was like, how could you believe anything Donald Trump says? Why would you vote for him? Well, see what he's done. See his actions. See what he's done. See the policy he makes. And 4 years later, you're saying, see the policy he makes. See what he's done. Liberals have been crying for Joe Biden. See what he does. Yeah. Let's see what he does.
All is in your court.
They didn't get the power they need to do anything, and he wasn't proposing anything.
No, the ball is in your court now. And you know what? I think that this is a positive.
That as a deflection.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like this is a positive thing for the left in general because it shows that their ability to manufacture consent has now been compromised. They cannot continue to manufacture consent in the ways that they have in the past. And that is really, like you said, Joe Biden got more votes than any president in history, but Donald Trump got second to that, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's just because they spent more money on this election than they ever have. More people got involved because more people were aware. That's it.
Yeah, literally. And also, not to mention the minority aspect of it. So, according to an Edison exit poll that the New York Times published, Trump got a little over a quarter of the non-white vote, which is the most of any Republican candidate since 1960. So it goes beyond this sort of cartoonish black and white sort of identity world that the Democrats try to sort of present to everybody. And I love that this is coming to the surface. I absolutely, because there's nothing that they can say. There's absolutely nothing that they can say at this point.
No, they painted themselves into a fucking corner.
They did.
That's what it is. They've painted themselves into a fucking corner. And we can walk around in the paint all we fucking want. They're concerned about getting paint on themselves. We are not. I don't care if I get paint on myself. Yeah, I will fucking roll around in the paint.
Bukkake me in that fucking paint. I'm here for it.
Just covered in a thick white latex substance.
Yeah, exactly.
Latex. It's a latex substance. It is paint.
Fucking Randy Marsh me with the ectoplasm. I want it all. I want it all over my face. I want it all over my face.
This has gone south quickly.
That escalated quickly.
Yes, well, that's how we do it here at Low Society. Speaking of which, welcome to everybody who is listening. Thanks for stopping in on our election, our post-election, whatever the fuck this is, episode. Before we get started, follow us on Spotify, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. None of that 4-star bullshit. 5 fucking stars now. Tell your friends about us. Spread the word. Make sure people know that Low Society is the place to go. That rhymes. Also, if you really want to support the show, patreon.com/Low Society Pod. Like, go there, give us money. We do bonus episodes every week. This week's was election related, obviously. It's up now. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I'm interested to see in the next couple of weeks whether there is this triumphalist sort of streak. Because it quieted down very quickly yesterday as soon as they realized
they were at my ass all day. And then as soon as it was like, oh shit, there's not going to be a massive win here. They were just like, oh, backing away. Hands are up. Don't have a gun. I don't have a gun. Don't shoot at me.
Oh man, I don't want to talk too much about it, but I feel like it would be utterly remiss to not mention some of the craziness on social media during this whole thing. As in, people have just been showing their whole entire ass and like showing the worst version of, and the libs have been hungry. Like, I've never seen them so fucking rabid. Like, you can't even turn a fucking corner without them being there with the pitchforks. And like, even to the point where there are people saying that Flint, Michigan doesn't deserve clean water because they voted they voted for Trump.
And it flipped to blue and they were still saying it.
Yeah.
After it flipped to blue.
Yeah.
Which is fucking insane.
Insane.
They're like, I don't even give a flying fuck that they did what I wanted. I'm still fucking mad about them being read earlier in the day. Fuck them.
That's what I mean. They're inhuman. These liberals, they're fucking inhuman and have utter contempt for the humanity of working people, of poor people, of anybody. And if you're a working person or a poor person, you better be a fucking minority of some kind, and you better toe the line and fucking obey.
Well, that didn't even help Flint.
Nope.
Flint is all working class and majority minority.
Minority, yeah, that's true.
It is absolutely not. It doesn't help. If you are in the way, you are a fucking problem to those liberals.
Yeah.
They will act as racist as they fucking want. They are blue chuds.
Blue MAGA, as people are calling them, because they're exactly that.
Well, from the coverage that I saw, it seems like obviously coronavirus is like a big voting topic for a lot of people in America at the moment. And people seem to trust Joe Biden more than Donald Trump. But Joe Biden has said fundamentally nothing will change.
It's because of the cultural signaling. Like I said, the domain of politics in America has absolutely nothing to do with anything material or policy. It's all about the aesthetic and cultural domain. And the fact that Joe Biden wears a mask and is very conspicuous about the fact that he wears a mask is signaling to them that. And then also because Trump got coronavirus, people think that he got coronavirus because he doesn't wear a mask. Even though there are people who wear masks that still get coronavirus. These people aren't virologists, but they like to think that they're fucking virologists.
I understand your point, definitely, but it's more like, has he actually proposed what he's going to do to tackle COVID, or is he kind of keeping this sort of secret plan under wraps until he sort of got the seat, and then he's going to kind of come in and announce what the plans were? Because I know Bernie sort of challenged him a lot on it, but sort of since that there was kind of even that, I haven't really heard him sort of talk about how he would fundamentally
he's barely
change
talked about
healthcare
COVID
in America to actually help people in COVID, that kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just out of the loop. I would love, please correct me.
Again, I think that you're both right here because there is no actual material plan. There's nothing that's been elucidated that might say to the working class, hey, this is what we're going to do for you. It is entirely the signaling of the mask. It's literally like, I am friendly towards the people who are concerned about COVID. Meanwhile, he could easily say, like, I support a UBI that retroactively gives everybody who needed money $2,000 a month that will help you throughout this entire crisis. He could say that at any point. And even if it wasn't something he could do because he didn't get any power, although I would assert that they would probably have seen more movement in the House and Senate. Had he said something like that, he didn't. He's not gonna say shit like that. Like, that's exactly what I'm talking about when something materially has to be promised in order to secure people voting for, because they're voting for something.
He did kind of promise something in the primaries against Bernie, like when that whole healthcare.
Yeah, but that fucking disappeared so quick.
I remember his gotcha to Bernie was, no one will pay for COVID care. No one will pay for COVID care. So it's not restructure the system to make sure that everybody gets healthcare generally. It's just that through this crisis, we'll make sure that nobody pays for COVID care. But I was just wondering if he actually had any kind of manifesto or any kind of actually plan to implement that, or even show, dedication that he's actually going to follow through with that. But it seems like he doesn't.
Are you
just fact checking me, making sure I'm not full of shit? That's fine.
No, I'm seeing if there is actually a plan, because I bet there isn't.
Yeah, let's fact.
There's a preamble, which is a bunch of posturing that says, like, public health emergencies require disciplined, trustworthy leadership grounded in science. Fuck that. That's not fucking plan shit. Here's the plan. The Biden plan calls for restoring trust, credibility, and common purpose. Note that's nothing. That's entirely aesthetic. Yeah. Mounting an effective national emergency response that saves lives, protects frontline workers, and minimizes the spread of COVID-19. What does that mean?
How?
Nothing. Well. That doesn't mean there's no how. There's limiting cost barriers for prevention of and care for COVID-19, which is that promise that you mentioned. Again, nothing mentioned as to how or why or what. Mm-hmm. Pursuing decisive economic measures to help hard-hit workers, families, and business. Pursuing. The promise is to pursue. Keep in mind. Always.
They're not going to do any of this.
So
One last point. Rallying the world to confront this crisis while laying the foundation for the future.
Wicked. So a load of marketing spiel. Like
it's marketing. It's literally
nothing.
marketing. His plan is shit fucking. This is joebiden.com/COVID plan. That is the address I am on right now. And it's just marketing nonsense.
So I feel like, I'm quite a cynical person in my day-to-day life. And I try to sort of exercise as much like goodwill as possible. And like my definite cynical self was like, oh, great. Well, now he's just said a bunch of shit to just kind of be the lead guy for the Democrats. He's not actually do anything. There's going to be no plan. I guarantee it. There's going to be no fucking plan. I didn't even need to actually further research that to make that assumption. But then you've literally just gone on his website and there's just marketing spiel with zero fucking plan. So a part of me now kind of, am I cynically correct?
You were correct.
Am I right to be cynical? Is it right to be cynical about the Democratic Party for any kind of hopes and dreams that you might have?
Yes.
Like, again, I've got friends that I've in real life that definitely don't listen to this podcast. But one of the things that they've said is that, Donald Trump doesn't believe in climate change, and that's why we need to vote for Joe Biden. But I'm also pretty sure that I read like along the election trail that Joe Biden literally approves and wants to go ahead with a bunch of new fracking sites in the US. Mm-hmm. So how do you maintain that
Because it's
argument?
about power for some people it's because they don't care and they'd rather go with the, as Matt Christman put it, don't be an asshole rather than the don't be a pussy party. And then for some people it's because they want to restore cultural hegemony or what they feel aligns with their specific class interest. It's about power. It has nothing to do with getting Orange Man out of the White House. It's about power.
No, of course. It's an election for the presidential seat. Of course it's about power, but
it's about power for a specific cultural hegemony and political hegemony too. And that's specifically why they're willing to obfuscate any sort of clear contradiction in favor of just unseating the person that they don't like being there and they don't fucking like looking at. And obviously we're talking while things are still swung, but it seems as if they're going to get their fucking wish.
Well, I heard someone make the comment of, people are going out to vote for Biden for the hate of Trump. They're not going out to vote for Biden for the love of Biden or anything he stands for, any policies that he may have. Whereas people that are out to vote for Trump are there to vote for their own self-interest, whether it's in a bad way of like...
Whether they understand exactly how much that party cares for them or not.
Exactly. They're there for their own self, and they're there to vote for, the love of their own self-interest in a way. So like how, and his prediction was that Trump was obviously going to win through that sort of lens, which I definitely would understand. That's obviously not panned out to be reality, but I guess just dollars are more powerful than how people might feel about a particular politician or whatever. I don't feel like I feel like if there wasn't the Avengers and Chelsea Handler didn't get her tits out and all of these things didn't happen, that there would have been maybe a less of a turnout for Joe Biden, and he has got this cultural hegemony to kind of back him. Apart from Kanye back in the day, how many or Ted Nugent, like how many big, well-known celebrities came out swinging for Trump, even though he's a celebrity, like he's kind of one of them.
Well, because that's the cultural hegemony I'm talking about. They can't. They're simply not allowed. Imagine if one Hollywood star came out and said that they weren't in favor of Black Lives Matter. Like, we should live in a culture where that sort of thing would be okay. Like, you're allowed to have opinions about things. Like, if they were like, hey, I don't have a problem with black people, but I don't like the mode of operation of this specific manifestation of this thing. People would lose their jobs.
Well, especially when you've got the NGO version of Black Lives Matter, which is organizing so much of this shit and defanging the sentiment.
Imagine if someone, I don't know, fucking who do people like? Timothy Chalamet, or I don't know who did the kids like these days. I'm like an old lady.
Who do the children like these days?
Yeah, if Rob Pattinson. Honestly, there's absolutely nothing Rob Pattinson could do that would make me dislike him. Like, he could punch a whole baby.
He could even say, my dick's a white supremacist, and you would still not hate him.
I would try to talk his dick out of being a white supremacist.
You'd try and take the hood off that dick.
I would try and take the hood off that fucking
dick. Start sending @s to his dick on Twitter. Like, that's not it, chief.
Maybe you should read this article.
You want to give his dick a class in critical race theory?
I do want to give his fucking dick a class in critical race theory for sure. But even there's nothing Robert Patterson could do to make me mad. But then again, imagine if Robert Patterson came out and said anything that doesn't toe the liberal hegemony. He wouldn't have a fucking career. The reason why you have all these celebrities that are trucking out and yelling at people, it's because it benefits them materially, and also it increases their cultural capital. And that's the hegemony that the Democrats have used to manufacture consent. But now that no longer works. It's showing that hegemony no longer works. People don't care if Ellen Page is crying on fucking television telling them that they need to vote a certain way. People don't give a fuck. People find that fucking shit annoying, and it frightens them to their core.
I got to share this one. Like, this is fucking amazing. There was a Twitter trend this morning. John Oliver got extra emotional voting in the 2020 election. And I just think, like, I'm sorry, but I swear to God, if I saw somebody crying at the polls, I would just laugh so fucking hard, especially if it was John Oliver.
Here. Oh my God. I said that. I said something.
They're just like filling in bubbles going, oh, I'm so happy to be doing it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We're getting the Cheeto out finally. I would laugh so fucking hard at that.
Same here. I said the same thing similar to some libs that I saw that were doing like breathing exercises and shit. And then like people on Twitter like, you're making fun of their mental health and the things that they're doing to cope. And I'm like, no, sorry, fuck you. I don't have sympathy for you. You obviously have never had any real fucking problems in your life.
No, yeah.
If this is enough to make you fucking hyperventilate and be throwing yourself around like a fucking toddler, like get some fucking grit. Get some fucking grit. It pisses me off that people fucking, it's absolutely insane. But not to mention that there's also the fact that, you know, the minimum wage increase in Florida, the $15 minimum wage.
Red
and, you know,
as fuck state, by the way.
Yes.
Absolute red as fuck state.
Yes. There's also the Ohio union workers who sided with Trump as well. And wife California also voted against Prop 22. These are all different trends that show that the working class is not siding with the Democrats.
Well, I mean, the Democrats haven't been pushing the $15 an hour minimum wage, but the Republicans haven't either. But here's the difference between that and the other two, I would go ahead and say. The Florida increase in the minimum wage, if you look at the language of how that ballot is written, they are trying to discourage the fuck out of you from voting yes on that measure. They're like, we cannot guarantee that this will not fundamentally modify the state budget and screw social services in the ass, basically. And it's like, they were like, fuck no, give me the fucking money. And it was just like, you give people a real choice and they don't give a fuck about the rhetoric. They will pick the thing that benefits them because that's what they need. This world fucking sucks. They need something to change for them. And money's worth shit now.
Also, the union workers siding with Trump and also California voting against Prop 22. And it's really interesting.
What was Prop 22?
It was classifying independent contractors like Uber drivers as employees rather than as independent contractors, which, to be clear, would be a pro-employee thing. Like, that would absolutely help every Uber driver.
Oh, wait, so they voted against it?
It did not win.
Yeah, they voted against it.
They did.
It's hilarious because there was this blue checkmark pundit called Paul Krugman.
He's a ghoul. He's been around forever.
His brain was melting on Twitter last night because I'll just read his thread. So he said, the more I look at this election, the less I imagine I understand. Florida was a surprise Trump triumph and also voted to increase the minimum wage to $15. California is very liberal and voted to let Uber and Lyft keep treating their employees as independent contractors with no benefits.
Oh, yeah. The famous pro-worker liberals.
According to Fox Exits, majorities favor a government health care plan and a larger role of government in general. Yet they seem to have voted for Senate Republicans who want to drown the government in the bathtub. Racism is Trump's brand, but he outperformed in polls in the largest part with Hispanic and some black voters. The fact is their brains are breaking because they're seeing the manufactured consent crumble before their very eyes. He's also so close. He's so close to seeing a constituency beyond the divide of fucking Republicans and Democrats, or what Americans conceptualize as left or right.
No,
he's so fucking close, but he just can't. And that's the thing, is these people are like, huh? Wait a minute, what? Trump's brand is racism. Yep. people of color are voting for him. Oh, this liberal state fucking voted to keep their workers oppressed. This state that's supposedly not liberal, fucking raised to increase the minimum wage, and most people want healthcare. It's called socialism, motherfucker. It's called fucking socialism. But it seems as if people cannot conceptualize any world that exists beyond. And I am sick of seeing these fucking media figures, all of them, from the halls of the most sort of credible institutions to your average bread tube idiot, manufacturing consent constantly for this brutal status quo. And for those of us who are saying no and who are screaming against it, constantly being marginalized and pushed into silence, it pisses me off. There is a world beyond this. A world beyond this is possible.
Angie's gears are officially ground.
They're grinding. They're grinding.
They are very fucking
hard.
ground.
They're grinding so hard.
It's the whole fucking. There is no alternative. It's capitalist realism. It's that shit, and it drives so many of these fucking people. They're willing to accept the idea that Margaret Thatcher put out there, that we don't live in a society. There is no alternative. The end of history is here, and we have to fucking push back against this shit. It's bullshit. It's made up. It is ruling class ideology disseminated among the working class. That's exactly why the people in California voted against that thing. They accept the ideology that the market will eventually provide them with a better situation. And they're like, okay, well, Uber has to have it this way because that's going to benefit Uber. And ultimately, if Uber does good in the long run, things will be good for me. That's bullshit. It's fucking ideology. It is the lie that we have been told our entire lives as people who have come from the working class or advocate for the working class or what the fuck ever you are. I don't give a shit. If your priorities are in the right place, this is what's got to fucking go.
I do feel like this is different from other times. Like the only point of history that I've heard this referred back to is like the Great Depression, which was like hot off the heels of the Spanish flu. And then you had, obviously, the Great Depression, which kind of wiped everyone economically. And then the role of Roosevelt to come in and do this New Deal and rejuvenate the economy, et cetera, which saved capitalism. So that was the point there in history where things could have changed and systems could have been reorganized in a way that it made a longer lasting effect than what Roosevelt did. What Roosevelt did was then essentially just undone over the next 50 to 60 years. And
it bought them time. And then the neoliberal political reaction happened, basically.
And now we're at a point where all these crises are, coming and intersecting with one another. And it's good. And, people like AOC, people like Bernie Sanders talk about, a Green New Deal and this sort of possible way to maybe try and save capitalism again. And I think it's about trying to get the will with the populace to try and actually change fundamentally more things than just here's a band-aid again.
Just an upward transfer of wealth, which is precisely what all of these sort of haphazard measures end up being. An upward transfer of wealth from working class people into the pockets of these people who continue to manufacture consent into fucking oblivion. And I'm tired of it. I'm so fucking tired of it. And we have to scream. I'm turning into Alex Jones. I'm not going to take it anymore.
I'm a pioneer.
Yeah.
I'm an explorer.
Yes.
I'm a human and I'm coming. I'm alive. I'm animated. My heart's big and it's got hot blood going through it fast.
Mine too, Alex. Mine too.
I like to fight too. I like to eat.
And I'm sick of this anti-human movement that's trying to drain the blood out of all of us and manufacture our consent for fucking bullshit. Fuck every single last one of you motherfuckers.
I was going to ask you guys, do you think that the campaign with just a few of the Avengers members in it was enough to sort of keep Movie Bob going until next year, until there's another Marvel release?
Oh my God, I don't know.
That probably ticks more boxes for him than any fucking Avengers film could do, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I would think so.
It was his consumer politics mixed with his like consumer pet fucking addiction or whatever. I bet he looked like Stan in the ectoplasm scene from fucking South Park. He was like covered.
It was like a fucking earthquake, and then all of a sudden, like, where'd all this come from?
The only way they could make it better is if they released the Biden cut of Infinity War and they put like the CGI Trump instead of Thanos or whatever the
fuck. Nah, movie Bob is the CGI Thanatos. I have a feeling he has a bit of a long game. And he's just planning to like destroy us all. He has this like Malthusian long plan where he's gonna like slowly starve us to death and make us watch Avengers movies on repeat. Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy, like nerve-wracking, like time for a lot of people. So I know that a lot of you have genuine concerns that are rooted in sincerity, but I still think that you're full of shit. So even though I'm sympathetic,
well,
I still
again,
think
if you
that you're
accept
full of
the
shit.
ideology, you don't have to be like, I am going to make sure that the working class does not choose anything in its own interests. You can think like, and I think that a lot of these, especially the bread tube types, I think that they really think that they're probably helping, except for maybe the upper echelons of it. They probably think like, I am doing the right thing here. I'm getting rid of the fascist. I'm dunking on the bad guy. And it's like, it's not, for one, but like we're stuck basically, as opposed to a lot of people are just evil villains. I think that a lot of people are just stuck and genuinely accept that there is no alternative, to bring up the phrase one more time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not presented with one either. Whenever an alternative creeps through, every single possible moniker of power in any fucking given direction is thrown against it to make sure that it actually does never succeed or flourish in any kind of meaningful way. And although, you know, it's kind of different in the UK because Jeremy was the leader of the Labour Party for a number of years, it still didn't really work in the same way that he was still slandered like daily in the press for like just nonsense. Just the amount, just, yeah, I don't think there's a single human being that's had a rougher time in the press than Jeremy Corbyn, if I'm completely honest.
Except for maybe like pedophiles and rapists.
Well, they're right. They're rightly given a bad time.
And
So.
demons.
That's what I'm saying is like
Demons that you come into the room and you see the flies landing on them.
But I mean, but my question to you guys is like, where does this? Do you think that basically they're going to use this whole, you know, both houses being Republican, or this slim majority they have in the House, and the Senate majority Republican, as basically an excuse for the next 4 years of why they couldn't do any of the nothing that Biden had planned for the election?
I think they'll try, but I just think like at this point, like they've proven they really just can't rally a mandate. It's been 2 fucking elections in a row. They lost to Donald Trump in the first, and in symbolically speaking, like neoliberalism was on the ballot, and really the only motivating factor was just not having Trump in the White House. It wasn't, I am endorsing this fucking economic plan that you've presented me with. It wasn't, I think your social policies are great. It was just like, I don't want Trump anymore, so I guess we'll do this.
Well, that's the thing that I kind of find this sort of dark silver lining in, is the fact that, like I keep saying, there's cracks in their mode of operation, and their ability to make these outcomes work for them is also compromised too. And I don't necessarily, and I see this win as almost like this win of theirs is almost like a small mercy from the universe, because it's, like you said, the most limp-dicked, impotent, cocked, pathetic fucking win
and
that you could ever fucking hope.
They won, so they can't blame us for losing. And they won in the most pathetic possible way, so they can't act like they have all the fucking power. Like, it's the best situation for us we need to be critical of these motherfuckers, because they have been fucking this world up for in my entire life, your entire life. We've fucking watched them do it this whole fucking time. It's been these fucking people. It's not like the Republicans have been in power alternatingly with them, but like the Republicans have the same fucking agenda minus some nice words.
Well, one thing I am a bit cautious of, just as an outlooker, and I guess someone that lives on planet Earth, was that, you know, Trump has kind of made whatever you say about him progress in the relationship with Russia and North America, which are the 2 loose cannons with world-ending capabilities. So, I mean, maybe North Korea doesn't have world-ending capabilities quite yet, but, you know, it's getting there. Biden and the Democrats are very anti-Russia, anti-this and that, and there's a fear amongst some people that I've kind of read that they might, you know, he might warmonger and like go start a war with some sort of next Cold War with Russia, basically. and have the opposite approach to Trump, where as much as he was a grandstandy, look at me kind of guy.
Like, you need someone crazy to deal. Like,
Democrats would ignore Obama ignored him.
Yeah, Obama completely ignored him, and like Kim Jong Un.
Yeah, they were just like, that backwoods fucking
they're
guy.
The same person.
Fuck him.
Yeah, but Trump and they're the same person. They bluster, they make threats that they don't mean, and then they kiss and make up afterwards. Like, on the international stage, he's been far less pernicious than these hawkish, fucking carceral, military, fucking crazy people in the Democratic Party.
He's been the first president in 40 years not to start another war. To be frank, that's amazing. I mean, he did not end any wars. A lot of people tried to credit him a little bit further for not starting a war.
Yeah.
However,
well, he didn't also pull the troops out that he said he was either, did he? He didn't pull the troops out of Afghan that he said he was going to.
It's not really the accomplishment people give to him, but like at the same time, it is kind of fucking astonishing. He also, did you know that he let the fucking Patriot Act fucking expire in June?
Yeah, he did.
That shit is dead. It is not I'm sure that it's disseminated amongst like a bunch of other laws out there. I'm sure that they passed a bunch of other shit that is doing all of the same shit. But like this big fucking bill that like fundamentally changed the United States, he was like, actually, I'm going to veto that if you put that in my office. And so they just didn't.
Well, I think partially because he's caught between populist sentiment and the fact that he's also part of this sort of, even though he's this sort of anti-elite kind of figure in the sense that he doesn't come from the same, he's still a vassal of that culture. He's still somebody who is protecting capital.
He is an elite, but he is a capitalist.
He's an elite, but he's frustrated by the same, because like, for instance, Twitter censorship. If you look on Joe Biden's Twitter, none of his tweets are censored. But if you look on Trump's Twitter, almost all of his fucking tweets are censored.
I want to quickly address, like, there would be people who are like, but he wasn't censored at all. He just had a warning slapped on his tweets. That's not okay. So that warning stops your tweet from circulating in the algorithm.
It does.
If you think that that's not actually some form of censorship, if not the totality type of censorship that one likes to associate with like the traditional meaning of censorship. If you remove somebody from the algorithm, they are effectively like, your message does not go out if you cannot reach people through the algorithm.
And one of the things that he was talking about, and one of the things that a lot of people who sort of stirred up support for Trump, especially in the media, the podcast, all of these different places, one of the primary issues was surveillance capitalism and the overreach of the way these Silicon Valley institutions are able to sort of police the discourse, which is why I think Trump was like, if you bring this into my office, I think I'm going to fucking veto it, even though it would have pissed off a lot of other people who support him in that regard. And I think that it's going to get worse, like the censorship, the way that they're going to use these apparatuses to continue to manufacture consent and to silence dissident voices. It's going to get so much fucking worse under the Democrats. And it's the reason why Silicon Valley has put billions of dollars into supporting the fucking democratic institutions and candidates. They put billions.
Your Bezos, your fucking what's the other?
Jack Dorsey, the Twitter guy, fucking Mark Zuckerberg. Like all these Silicon, they put billions into the Democrats and they support them because they're trying to sort of create this atomized anti-human movement where they have a stranglehold over cultural maneuvers that allow one to manufacture consent.
Yes.
And that is terrifying to me as a dissident voice in that who is reliant on these platforms to get their message out. And if even the president of the United States has to deal with Jack Dorsey being like, that ain't it, chief, what the fuck do you think's going on with us? And not only that, it's a private corporation stepping in front of someone's speech to say, this is less credible. Because what it did was it would redirect you to the official MSNBC, CNN reporting and away from whatever they deem as unacceptable. Because it's basically taking over your logical faculties and ability to tell truth from fiction or to do your own research or to compare information on your own. And I find that fucking terrifying. I mean, here in the UK, they just made teaching anti-capitalist history illegal. They've made it illegal. They said that it fucking it encourages anti-Semitism.
If there's anything that those people love to do, it's to conflate capitalism with Jewish people. And like, if you're anti-capitalist, you're anti-Semitic, which is like which is a hugely anti-Semitic argument to make. It's just fucking astounding to me that people don't understand. Like, you're basically saying, all right, well, that means all capitalists are Jewish bankers. Like, that's basically how the world is. Like, that's anti-Semitic. That is an anti-Semitic talking point. And that whole shit relies on that.
What I'm super interested in is like what's actually going to happen. Obviously, like I said, as we're speaking to all of you now, things are still up in the air unless things have changed in the last 5 minutes.
I'm looking and it looks like a no. Nothing has fundamentally changed, as Joe Biden said.
As Joe Biden says, nothing will fundamentally change or has fundamentally changed. But the thing that I'm interested in is there's obviously a lot of speculation and recriminations flying back and forth between both parties and their supporters at the moment. And I've been watching a lot of right-wing pundits and sort of normie centrist pundits, and their message and what they think, the speculation is that they think is going to happen is that Trump is going to take it. It's going to be like a Bush versus Gore kind of situation. They're speculating that Trump is going to contest and have the Supreme Court rule in his favor. The Democrats are also worried that Trump is going to do a fascist coup and just sort of like be like, no, fuck you out.
The latter's fucking
the latter's
That's just fucking
that's
stupid.
just dumb. They're like, he's going to fucking get the fucking military in and be like, fuck you guys. Like some kind of third world fucking military dictator. Like they have this they have this weird persecution fantasy, but that's not to say that he couldn't do certain things by covert ways or in more systemic ways. But I don't think he's going to be marching the military out into the streets to seize the Capitol or anything silly like that. But what do you guys think about the speculation that he may attempt to use legal means to overturn the verdicts that we're currently seeing?
So I want to refer to 2016 and the way that the liberals responded to Donald Trump losing in the popular vote. And talking endlessly about how Hillary Clinton could somehow do some sort of procedure in the courts that might land her somehow in the Oval Office in January. Like, there was this really arcane and strange process that liberals kept describing that she was going to do in their minds, where she was going to do some form of Supreme Court appeal or have something recounted or change something, like change the Electoral College rules, which was just absolutely fucking batshit insane. There's all this same kind of shit from the Hillary camp that I'm seeing from the Trump camp. And I feel like it's kind of the lifestyle idol marketing type shit.
But even then, the Hillary camp didn't have power in the way that that Trump as the sitting president of the United States does.
But they had Obama.
Yeah. That's true. But even then, Obama's not Hillary Clinton and Trump is Trump. So it's like two chess players removed. I mean, the only reason I'm saying this is because I don't want to, anytime liberals are saying stuff, I don't just, and also the left, quote unquote, I don't just want to listen to their verdict or speculations. I also always want to take whatever the right-wing people are saying as seriously as possible and at least investigate what their claims are before I totally dismiss them.
For me, it sounds kind of like the same fandom politics, though. And that might be just my own personal biases speaking. But to me, it sounds like the whole, like, I want this and therefore this is going to happen thing. That, like, both of these political, quote unquote, constituencies, I would just call them fandoms at this point, like the MAGAs and the blue MAGAs. Like, they both have their share of delusions and act like consumers with this shit. And I feel like that's a consumer demand.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I was just wondering if it's in terms of, like, what powers or weapons that Trump possibly has in his arsenal.
It's possible for him to make appeals. But again, like, I don't know. I feel like even this Supreme Court that they've designed might not really want to do that shit. Like, I know they've tried to demonize this Supreme Court as badly as they possibly can, but I don't know how much they're going to want to upend any norms just for the sake of Trump, because they've kind of gotten everything that they want out of Trump. Like, they got a Supreme Court that is much more sympathetic to business. And really, like, what else are they going to get out of him?
Yeah, it's true.
Like, they're going to get more out of Biden. These big interests are going to get more out of Biden than Trump.
That's very true. And also, it's something that would also quell political unrest. Obviously, we're in the realm of speculation now, but I feel like if Trump did perform some form of coup d'etat, then you'd see the Democrats and the sort of identity-based movements that they, you know, funnel their NGO money to out in the streets. Fucking be wrecking shit, fucking shit up, causing like public unrest and damage and shit. So, you know, I guess that is part of the reason why I'm skeptical in terms of what certain right-wing pundits are claiming. But like I said, at this point, we're in the realm of speculation. None of us actually know what's going to happen in the next couple of days. But I didn't realize that American elections could drag out this long, because most other developed countries in the world have their fucking results announced on the night.
Oh, I thought you were going to say healthcare.
Yeah.
There are lots of things that most developed countries have that Americans like don't.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a ban on handguns. Oh.
What about actual like automatic gun? Yeah, it's crazy to me that it's going to take like no, and there's no shadow of when things are going to be it's just going to happen spontaneously or sporadically when they decide.
They claim Nevada was going to call it at noon Eastern Standard Time, which just came and went.
Shall I tell you the most good bit of news that came out from all the elections? What? Is that New Jersey officially voted to make marijuana recreationally legal in the state, which means we're going to see a whole bunch of like Sopranos rip-off name dispensaries.
Yes.
And I've seen some fantastic suggestions in the Twitter already, like Dabagool.
Hell yes.
What's it?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Chrissy Bolasanti. Like all they're going deep. Oh, there was one for the Bing as well that I'm totally forgetting, but like I'm looking forward to like that especially. It's going to be hilarious if anyone does it.
Jake has a habit of trying to go to like most places in America that have some form of weed culture around them. So are you going to make a trip to New Jersey?
Oh, dude, I've already planned a New Jersey trip, regardless of the weed, just to go see the Bing, just to go to Satriali's and, like, you know, go to the places in Sopranos, man.
So your plan is to get a big plate of pasta or like a calzone or something, and just like a fat ass like joint and just like fucking have a time.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Am I going to go to a deli and am I going to get an Italian sandwich? And am I going to go down the street and get a blunt and just sit in a park somewhere and probably listen to like Frank Sinatra or something?
And then some group of like some angry group of liberals will come and demand that you raise your fist while you're eating a sandwich.
No,
and you're like,
it'll be on Columbus Day, and I say, don't you dare disrespect our great explorer.
Our great.
And then they'll literally kill you.
They will draw and quarter you and your sandwich.
Was the sandwich worth it, Jay? Was the sandwich worth it?
You and your fucking sandwich are gonna get fucking beat the shit out of in that fucking park, mate. I don't know how I would react, because I feel like that's what a lot of these Republican or like some of these like more unhinged Republican voters think. Like the unhinged Democrat, the liberals think that if Trump wins, that they're going to get dragged off and put in the cages that the Mexican kids are put in, which is hyperbolic and silly. But I feel like also some of the more unhinged Republicans also think that that's exactly what would happen if Biden wins, that they'd just be sitting down in the park and then all of a sudden people will be coming over them to say, raise your fist now, you bitch. And I wish that would just be so fucking entertaining. Like people would do tourism to America. I think it would increase America's tourism just to have the experience of being yelled at in a park by a bunch of liberals and being told to fucking raise your fucking fist.
Oh my goodness.
This is the famous SJW park. If you eat a sandwich here, you'll be demanded.
And we've also like pulled down all the statues of white men. We actually erected statues so that you can come here and have the experience of pulling them down.
They put them back up every day just so that people can tie like a thing around them. It's like they're all Robert E. Lee, every single one of them.
Of like not even specific like historical figures, but like just generic like Roman busts of like white men.
And they've got the Confederate flag just draped over their shoulders.
This is an amazing post-Biden business venture, because obviously it's over for us hoes now in fucking lefty podcasting. The liberals have won. They fucking got their little victory and they're fucking running around. So why don't we just join them and create the SJW park attraction where you can be yelled at to raise your fist, and you can fucking smash statues, and you can fucking light trash cans on fire. It's a fucking fun experience for the whole family.
They have people in vans that like come in and they abduct you. And they just take you like a block away and let you go.
They're really just giving you like a cuddle, and they whisper, "You're valid," in your ear as they fucking take you.
And in the meantime, the people who are still in the park have to tweet about how there's these unmarked vans that are taking people in a walled garden Twitter. It's a pretend Twitter. It's not even a real Twitter.
No.
So in all of this election talk, I've only just realised what the bloody date is today. Remember.
The 5th of fucking November, bitches. The gunpowder treason.
Do you reckon Guy Fawkes was anti-capitalist?
I think Guy Fawkes was just straight up anti-Semitic, man.
What would he have been? It would have been anti-feudal back in his day, or would he have been? Was he still in?
Anti-Semitic is the same thing as anti-capitalist.
Like a massive expert on the whole gunpowder treason situation. But I wonder, I know that the reason that it got adopted as this sort of iconography of the left is because of like the fact that it was Alan Moore, because of V for Vendetta. No other reason. But it was always seen as this sort of thing in this country for the working class to be like, we could fuck you up if we want to. The reason that we go and do the fireworks, it's turned into this sort of symbolic sort of warning the government, but in effigy rather than actual in terms of like threatening them for real.
Well, you say that, but the most Chad fucking thing happened in UK news the other day. In response to the lockdown that's happening across the country now, lockdown 2, Electric Boogaloo, the owners of like I don't know if it was like a what do you call it, like a personal trainers union. That would be like a bit of a stretch. I think it was just someone that was generally representing the sentiment that they want all of the gyms to stay open during this lockdown. And to do that, they brought a tank outside the front of Parliament, painted with like, I think it was pink, or like it had their demands or something on it. But yeah, they drove a fucking tank all the way through central London, all the way up to the gates of Parliament, and told them to keep the gyms open, which is like one way of doing it, for sure. I don't fucking know, probably not. They probably just got laughed at. They didn't go through the gates or anything, did they? Yeah. It's a bit of an empty gesture, isn't it? It's like, as much as I like him, it's like when Aphex got the tank. It's all fun and games, but it's just exactly that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I feel like the reason why
we've invade France.
I feel like the reason why we valorize Guy Fawkes is because he was the one that got the closest. Like filling the Houses of Parliament with a bunch of fucking gunpowder, even though he failed. And even to this day, in the weird fucking archaic ceremonies that they do, they check the basements of the House of Parliament to make sure that there aren't gunpowder treasonists there. And I think that 1 year they should find some shit. I feel like that's the 1 year, because it's like this weird ritualistic thing that they do. But I feel like it would be hilarious if that apparatus, that sort of theater, actually became viable once again. But I know that that's wishful thinking.
What I would like to do personally is just like implement some sort of high-powered laser device into the brass statue of Maggie Thatcher that's outside of the doors of the House of Commons, and that you could put a little camera and a button to fire those lasers at the politicians to kill them off as they walked out of the Houses of Commons. But then obviously everyone goes, "Oh my God, did you see that? The statue of Maggie just shot lasers out of her eyes and killed fucking Boris Johnson." He's like, "Shut up. What have you been smoking? Of course that didn't fucking happen." And it just goes on as normal. And I can pick them off just like, day by day, gradually get there. Until then, we've got Jeremy Corbyn in power. And that's how communism works, everyone.
That's a communism.
I don't even know what the American equivalent of that would even look like. I think you would just
we
have to burn.
We need a statue for one, and also we need the lasers.
I think you just need to get rid of the whole.
I don't care what the statue is of.
Dude, that's the creepiest fucking thing. Granted, I was fucking stoned when I was in the House of Commons, but like, that would freak anyone out. You turn around and you saw that, like, literally like a 9-foot brass statue with her face it's done in like an uncanny likeness. So it's like, whoa.
In metal, you can't do something like that and have it look real.
I don't know.
Maybe
it's the naturally potatoey way he looks, but Winston Churchill's one looked pretty good. I'm just saying.
He's kind of an uncanny looking human being anyways.
I don't know, I guess you could say the same for Maggie Thatcher, but her statue, my God. I would wish that her statue is the thing that visits you in the dreams. The reality of her is much more pleasant than that statue.
She's the sleep paralysis monster, basically.
We're at the end of history. There is no society. What the fuck? Why can't you move?
Oh, fuck. It's all fucked, but it's interesting, and I'm interested to see how it all fucking pans out. Like I've said quite a few times on this episode, shit's not really resolved yet as we're recording it, but we're sort of recording it under the assumption that Biden will win, unless something really drastic changes. But I'm pretty happy to see the fact that the maneuvers of the neoliberal consensus, their thesis has been an utter fucking failure. And I think that leaves room for more political maneuvering for the left and for us to push past this false consciousness. It's not as hegemonic as we think.
Well, I mean, if they'd gotten a landslide, they've gotten their mandate, they could have done their triumphalism and shat all over the left. Or if they'd have lost, they could have blamed us. But they can't do either of those things at this point. Like, they will look fucking stupid.
And my message to the left, I guess, would be, like, you know, those doing the good work, keep doing what you're doing. It's the same status quo. No major changes. That's kind of still the end of it. It doesn't really matter for anyone that is against the status quo, because what's just won is the status quo. Like, we lost that fight and argument when Bernie dropped out. That was the only sliver of hope you had of that. So we're just to keep organizing, keep trying to do your thing. This is the same shit, different fucking old man. Like, there's no need to fret, basically, is what I'm saying.
And keep screaming the message out as loud as possible, especially now that we're going to be facing a lot more censorship, and especially now as they're going to attempt to kick down at and push aside marginal voices. Keep shouting those messages loud. Support those people who you see shouting the messages. And also, don't be discouraged by the bullying, because that's exactly what these people are. They're fucking bullies. Don't be discouraged by the bullying. And
they're pussy bullies.
They're pussy bullies. Yeah, but they're bullies. Don't be fucking deterred by the bullying of those who do the fucking shitty, cocked work of manufacturing consent for this horrible consensus. A better world is possible. Speaking of which, this has been Low Society. Help us out on Patreon, support our voices as well, because we fucking need support if we're gonna fucking be able to push past half the shit we fucking take.
Yeah, we don't have the institutional backing.
We do not.
We haven't wormed our way into this position.
No.
Via like nepotism or some fucking connection.
No, and we also don't have academic tenure or even academic credibility. We're just regular people speaking from the fucking knowledge of our experience and what we've managed to learn organically. And I feel like that's important. And anyone else out there who wants to do this, now's the fucking time. Now is the time for you to also get up there and do that.
And just think of like all of your support for us as like a Make-A-Wish Foundation for me to try and get to meet Alex Jones one day. Because, you know,
we're gonna try. We're gonna do everything we can to get that man on this podcast. I don't think we're gonna change his mind about anything, but I do not care.
Oh no! He's gonna try and change our minds, Peter. Like,
it's not gonna work. I mean, let's just be frank. That's not gonna.
It's not gonna work.
It's gonna be a serious impasse, but it's gonna be the funniest fucking impasse of all time.
I've been listening to him for a few years. It's not happened yet, but he's a bloody funny guy. But no, like, it's just, you know, the more listeners we get, every play counts, right? And like, eventually people like that can't say no to us, and I want to make it happen. I want to make it happen. I want to sit him down and make him listen to Acid Jones, and I want to ask him about that whole fucking thing, about the conspiracies about him, because he obviously makes the jokes about Bill Hicks and stuff, but like, the whole thing about him being a secret fucking bedroom producer that still hasn't been answered. And I'd love to ask him about it.
I want to talk to Hillary Clinton. That's my ambition. I want to get Hillary Clinton on Low Society podcast.
That's I think that's significantly more difficult of an idea than Alex Jones. That person would never be on our podcast.
Well, if you want to help support our big ambitions, give us a couple dollars on Patreon. We always appreciate it. Share the episodes. Talk to your friends and family about it. Check out our Reddit. Check out our fucking Twitter. Check out all of the other
We
places.
got to start getting in the merch game with stickers and shit. Get people to fucking spread the word that way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, spread the word and stay sane. And, there's no need to fret. Because as Joe Biden said, nothing fundamental is going to change, blah, blah, blah. Fuck those people. And on that note, we shall catch you next week with a new episode. We love you. Goodbye.
Peace out.
Bye.